I'm the studio manager for decorative product, color, material, and finish at Kohler Company.
So I got really excited when we were talking a little while ago. You know, I wrote this book, as I discussed. It's on livable design, which is taking universal design compliant pieces and turning them into a platform on how you can make your home affordable, adaptable, flexible, and beautiful, because it's got to be beautiful, right, at the end of the day?
Yes.
And apparently this is something that's very near and dear to your heart and your team, right?
Yes. So actually, we didn't talk about this before, but I do a lot of forecasting as well for the company, and one of the key cultural dynamics that we talk about with our MPD teams, which is new product development, is universal design does not have to be devoid of personality. And that's one of the things at Kohler that we understand, and I know well-being's been a hot topic for a while, but well-being is in our DNA.
Yes.
And we service 2 rooms in the house that are very critical in nurturing your family. So you've got the bathroom, which is that hub for well-being.
Right.
And you have the kitchen, which is the heart of the home, where you feed and entertain and build those connections. And we think you're not designing a home for a singular person, you're designing a home for a family that's gonna live and grow, and you really have to anticipate that.
Right. So your team, I got kind of excited because you shared with me a little bit of the back of house and the way that you are and your team are so passionate about how you develop these new components that are, you know, sort of seamless, right?
Yes.
But will benefit everyone. Can you talk about that a little bit?
So we have this wonderful group called Human Experience. So we have a huge design group, but then within this design group, we've got a Human Experience group, and their job is just tasked to understand how are people gonna live in their homes, and how is it going to affect them at various stages, and how do we design for that? And they go out into the community and work with the senior citizens. They work with younger children to understand how they cue into
interact with the space.
Exactly.
Right?
And then they also look at instances where it's varied abilities, or when you're injured, or understanding different life stages. So even...
Do you think that that's a big deal? People get injured? I mean, we're both young people here, right? And have you had any experience relative to what it's like to all of a sudden have your mobility go away?
Yeah, before I get into that, I'll say, like, let's just think about the average of how many people get their knees replaced before they're 40.
Yeah.
You know, we're all active people. You have to replace that knee, you're up for a bit. I didn't have to replace my knee so much as I just had a stumble and a fall, which landed me in a wheelchair for 3 months.
Wow.
And I really got, even though I was empathetic for universal design, I got to see it through a whole new lens of, like, what does it mean when you lose the whole right hand side of your body?
Right.
And our Human Experience team was just obviously sympathetic, but really were like, oh great, we get to ask so many questions and insights. And you know, to this day we still talk about, like, some of the little nuggets of, like, oh, this was a pain point for me when I couldn't walk around so well, or if I can't, and I can't move my arm as much, but, like, I will give them insights every once in a while, like, hey, I don't have that much strength to twist this.
Right.
That's the wonderful thing about Kohler is we invest so much time and energy to make sure that our designs are right.
Yes.
And work not just for, like, a healthy male in his prime, but, you know, from grandma to the grandchild, that, you know, the ergonomics are there, and then they're also beautiful.
And that's the big deal.
Huge.
Because what I got excited about is that you've got the Human Experience team that's paired up with the design team, right? So it's kind of
integral
in the foundation, if you will. Well, we talked a little bit about something that we've used to be able to spec, but we can't spec anymore. It's called a transfer tub.
Yes.
And you lit on that because it's something that your team is sort of addressing. And can you talk about that just a little bit? Because I think it's a great insight into how passionate you are about something that's seemingly pretty simple.
It's about how do you transfer over if you have limited abilities or you can't lift your leg. So every bathing...
Or if you want a place for your wine?
Yeah, exactly. Or if you're sitting down and washing the kids or helping another adult take care of themselves. And I can tell you, like, our bathing team is great, and we always ask these questions. And our Human Experience team is always prompting if they're not thinking about it. Our younger designers go through rigorous training on, you know, empathetic design. putting themselves in the situation where we simulate, well, you can't lift your legs. You might be a 20-something, but now you are feeling the knee pain of a 70-year-old.
Yes.
One of my first projects at Kohler was the choreograph system. And when I came in, I was handed a wealth of knowledge where they went into the field, they observed people showering, or people told them the pain points of what happened after they remodeled, what they wish they would have done differently, or remodeled and then they had an injury of what they did differently. And there was some common threads, and one of them was, I need stability, I need a sense of safety. I'm very vulnerable, it's wet. And we thought, well, we don't have to be ADA, but we can have a beautiful grip that allows some storage, but also allows stability, allows you perhaps to flex without having to feel like you might slip and fall.
And you can put these anywhere in the wall, right? As long as the wall has the supports for it, right?
Yes, and they're varied sizes. But in addition to that, we came across an insight of sometimes shower and heat causes fatigue and a little bit of dizziness. So we came up with a perch.
That's the perch?
Yes. Our VP at the time was very, this is one of her insights of, I think we need something that is movable. So for the people who need it, they need it. But in the space, just something that kind of sit down. And
it's kind of sculptural.
It's beautiful. Right? Yeah, and it doesn't feel like it says anything about your lifestyle.
It's not institutional.
Not institutional at all. It's just a beautiful piece that you don't realize is really handy until you start actually using it.
Well, this is a beautiful example, and the story that you told about behind the scenes, I think people are really interested to hear your heart, right? Your genuineness for what you're doing and how passionate your team is about including a myriad of different things into your solutions that, a lot of times we see something that's very beautiful, seeing the substance behind it and the earnestness with which you approach it, I think it's just remarkable. So I'm really delighted that you had the time, took some time to visit with me a little bit and shared that with me, because I think people really need to hear that. I'm proud of you, I'm proud of Kohler.
I love the book. Thank you so much for it. This is amazing.
Yeah.
It falls right in line with what we hold dear.
Well, let me know what you think of the book, and if there's any questions or clarifications, things that we can do better, please let us know, okay? Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it, Erin.